Hey everybody, Dr. Heather here, coming to you live from Ask Dr. Heather in my home, here with my dear friend Tina Galloway, and we are going to chat about a topic that a lot of you have asked me about, especially after low carb keto KC. People said, how do you find the right doctor? How do you find someone that actually listens into you and meets you where you are and takes you where you want to go? We talk all the time that we may not have the same hairdresser. She may love somebody, I may not do right with my hair. We all have different hair. The same thing is true when you're trying to find a physician. We're all different, unique beings, and our outcomes are all different. So Tina has gone through an experience the last several months about trying to find the right physician. So I kind of just share with my own patients. It's like when your child, trying to get the light in our heads are the same size. When your kids are little, being a mom of four, when the kids are little, you have to be their own advocate. You have to call the principal, you have to call the teacher, and then when they become somewhat adults, like college and high school, you have to take a little bit step back and be their advocate. But that's not true in healthcare. When it comes to your health, you are your own advocate, which means if they're not doing something you like, they're making a suggestion that you don't really understand or doesn't feel right, it's okay to get a second opinion. I know sometimes, often insurance dictates that, but going with a list of questions like Tina did. She flew in town, she had a list of questions, she knew what she wanted to ask, let the doctor speak, and then filled in with the questions. And that's the same thing I'm really going to encourage you to do. Anytime you're really trying to even do preventative care, I have people say, well, they wouldn't check my thyroid, they didn't check all the right markers, like they won't do it. Then you need to find someone that can. And as you become your own advocate, you're going to feel really empowered with that, and know that it might not be the first or second doctor that goes along, but don't let that person, whatever the healthcare provider is, go against your gut. Your gut always knows. When I meet with a family, I had a family yesterday, I listened to the mom and dad, they generally know what's going on. Like, I think it's something he's eating. The regular doctor said everything was fine, but the mom and dad just knew something was off. So definitely go with your gut on that. And you may be a little bit more tougher water to go through, but it's generally worth the journey. So I'm just going to ask Tina some questions here, because she's been dealing with some health concerns for over 10 years. So I'm just going to round it that way. And you just could not get the pieces of puzzle together. You do what most people do, and you blamed it on, well, my dad passed away, you blamed it on life struggles, you blamed it on this, blamed it on that. But something, I call it divine appointments, come together, and sometimes the things just get connected. And sometimes your doctor helps you do that, and hopefully that's what we do at our office. It's not about my office, it's about you being your own advocate wherever you are. So what was that kind of pivoting point where you became open to more than just what other people thought? Like, oh, you're just tired, oh, you're just depressed, oh, it's midlife crisis, oh, it's hormones, oh, it's your dad died. When did you kind of have that turning point where I've really got to do something about this and take my own healthcare into my own arms, and then trying to interview and find someone that would help you where you want to go?
I would say over the summer, I was declining in my health probably right around March of this year, to the point where just everything seemed to not be right. And I would go to the doctor and go to the doctor and go to the doctor and feel like a hypochondriac, and then they make you feel like you're crazy.
Well, because again, you don't fit the American model. She looks beautiful, she's not overweight, she's not a smoker, she's not a drinker, so that takes all these little boxes off all the time. So that it happens all the time.
They would say, like, your blood work's fine. On paper, you're fine, so there's nothing wrong with you. But inside, I knew something just wasn't right. And then summertime came, and I ended up in the emergency room twice. And the first emergency room visit, they diagnosed me with pancreatitis, which just did not sit well with me. I knew in my heart that's not what it was. I don't have a gallbladder. I don't drink. I don't smoke, like Dr. Heather said. I live fairly healthy. So for me to be told I had pancreatitis when they were showing me the blood numbers, and it wasn't off, so I thought, okay, you're just diagnosing me with something just to get me out of here and be on my way.
And the pain actually was not on the right side. Pancreatitis.
It was on my right. It was on my right side, like right up under my breast, and like horrific pain to where I couldn't even walk. And so at that point, that's when I knew, like, okay, people just think I'm nuts. But they made me go into a follow-up a week later with a primary care. I did not have a primary care anymore because the one that I did quit. She had a second baby and she quit and decided to be a stay-at-home mom. So I had been without a primary care for quite some time. So someone recommended me to somebody. I went. She had horrible bedside manner, and she looked over at my husband, not even me, the patient, and she said, you need to get her to ER because I think she has a tumor. Like, I was not even sitting there. And so I panicked. I start crying. He rushes me back to the emergency room. They take my blood. They run all these tests on me. I mean, $30,000 later in a bill at a second emergency room visit. And they didn't know what was wrong with me, and they sent me on my way again.
So
And
I'm gonna interrupt. So again, we're not bashing doctors. We're not bashing medical rooms, because when you go to the ER, their job is to save your life. They want to have you breathing, and they want to have you peeing, believe it or not, because they want to make sure your kidneys are working. So sometimes they're there for crisis care. They're there to just triage, so to speak, and then get you to the right department. So we are not here bashing anyone. And so with the details, we look about what could it possibly be, because again, on lab work, things look normal. And this is often, we talk about invisible diseases all the time here. Invisible diseases like migraines, infertility, chronic pain. So another invisible disease is actually breast implant disease. People are like, well, what is that? Well, there's actually a rare bacteria you can get that's systemic for your body that comes. I'm not going to name the bacteria, it's too long, or spell it. I'll post it down later. But it actually comes from the silicon from what's happening in the breast implants. It's actually leaching into the nervous system, into the brain, and into their tissue. So that's why she kept going to the hospital, and nothing being wrong, so to speak, because again, they're looking for her to be bleeding out. She was breathing, but just not feeling right inside. So she needs to have a big star for persistence, because oftentimes that can get in our head. Well, maybe they're right. Maybe nothing is wrong with me. Maybe it's just me. Well, the problem is it is you, because it's your body. So after those incidences, you actually had come across a group, or just something kind of sparked. So we always talk about divine appointments, whether it's on Facebook or at the grocery store, or at the school play yard. So
I ended up getting put into a group called Breast Implant Illness Healing Breast Implant Illness by Nicole. And at first, when I saw it, I kind of blew it off, and I thought, no, that can't be. I took the safe route. I got saline implants. It can't be my implants. But for some reason, it just kept showing up in my Facebook feed. And you know how Facebook is. Algorithms are very different now. And for that to continually show up, it started to pique my interest, and I started looking into it. The more I looked into it, the more I realized, oh my gosh, all these women are complaining about the same exact things that I'm complaining about. The nerve pain, the tremors, the headaches, the fatigue, chronic fatigue. The anxiety, the depression, you can't sleep, or if you can't sleep, all you want to do is sleep, because you're just chronically fatigued, and you go to lay down and you can't fall asleep. The numbness in my arms, the stabbing pain in one of my breasts, the pain in my ribs. It was just so many different things that were validated through over 50,000 women in this page. And so I finally started paying attention to it, and I thought, you know what? I talked to my husband about it, and he's like, you know what? That makes total sense. All of this makes sense. We need to do our homework and start looking into this. So I really, really started doing a lot of research into it, besides just the Facebook groups, doing my own advocacy by Googling things and researching things and looking into it on my own, not just what was on that page.
Right. So she's doing the right things. You know, you want to rule out the big things. You want to rule out tumors. You want to rule out cancer. You want to rule out thyroid. So you want to celebrate those things, but sometimes it can be so hard. I have patients like, I've been to everybody. They say nothing's wrong. They just haven't looked in the right place yet. That's the word I want you to just feel sure about. That, you know, keep track. I say journal your journey. Keep track of how you feel, when you feel it. Is it around the moon cycle? Is it around your own cycle? Is it in your home that you're feeling sick? Is it at work? So you start putting those pieces of puzzle together. Just know that if you didn't get the right answer yet, then know that it's there, and it may take a little bit of time. But what I've told Tina, I'm like, don't set a timer, 30 minutes only. And I tell this with newly diagnosed patients with cancer or Lyme disease or food allergies, whatever it is, 30 minutes and then done, because we are a triad of health. The chemical stress in her body from the implants, if she lets her brain go there, it can actually be more invasive on her body and her central nervous system and doing more harm than what the implants. So set a timer when you start to do that, and then you got to walk away. So you got to journal the journey. You have to celebrate those wins. Thank goodness it wasn't a tumor. Thank goodness it wasn't her pancreas. But, you know, the other side of you is like, okay, but something's still wrong, and they're saying nothing, but you just haven't found the right person yet. So keep digging. Like you say, those algorithms come up. It seems crazy. There's social media. 20 years ago when we practiced, there was no Facebook, no social media. People couldn't Google anything. We had to go to the library to pull up PubMed. Now it's easier. And we'll list the diseases, some of the symptoms down there if you think it's someone you know or love. But this was really about being your own advocate. It's about about taking charge of your health, not a nurse or doctor. They're there to guide you and to help you and to listen to you and to validate. I saw a doctor last week I shared with you. He knew exactly what RSD was, but he was very honest. He's like, I know what it is, I know what you have, but I can't help you. Maybe here's someone that can. And then I got the someone who can says, we don't take your insurance. So that's a whole nother story we can talk about. But right now, it's really about how Tina's journey has been, and then at what point or what extent, because it can be very emotional to have implants taken off or have other things, whether it's, plastic surgery on your face or wherever it is. So let's just fast forward to a visit you had in Las Vegas. We're not going to say anything. She's from Las Vegas. Names. She did make an appointment with a local physician, which she had done some research about, and some people said yes, he's familiar with that. And then again, we're not going to say names at all, but just again, this is an experience we celebrate because we just check them off the list. It's just one off the list. We say next then, right? We just celebrate that and go on, even though we've got to take a big breath about it. But when you went in and talked to him and with your friend and you asked about breast implant disease.
Yes. He basically said that breast implant illness was created by a bunch of women who got together in a chicken coop and bred more chickens, and then wanted to blame all of their health issues on their breast implants, and that they're crazy, and that there's no way in the world that a breast implant...
As we just say next.
Yeah.
Right.
So at that point, I actually hijacked an appointment. It wasn't my appointment. I went in with a friend for her appointment, and I had my appointment like 3 or 4 days later with the same doctor. So after... leave here, I'm going to be canceling my appointment next week and moving on to the next. And so then that's where I ended up.
Okay, hold on a second. So Mara, are you hearing us again, or Stephanie?
Yep.
It's just the Wi-Fi in my house. So the moral would be is that we don't dwell on that, we don't relive that, we just say next. And then today we met with a physician. You guys spent the time and money away from your family. We'll try to both be in the picture. You spent time and money away from your family and your kids and saying, I've got to go find out because mom needs to be healthy. So just, again, no details today, but when you sat down and met with him, you just said I had a really good energy.
The energy that I got from him was amazing. So as soon as I walked in, just even the women in the office, the staff, very welcoming, it was just a good experience right from the moment that I walked in the door. And then when the doctor came in and he acknowledged, that this is an issue, but he has to, explain that he can't guarantee that it's going to correct anything, but he has done this multiple times. And multiple times of his patients, they are now better, and that but he has to warn me that it could not be my problem, but he has patients that have explanted and they are all better. So just my experience today, I walked out feeling amazing. I walked out with an appointment. So January 10th, which is the soonest I can get in, I will be explanting. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm just super excited to finally have not only an answer, but a step to take into the direction of better health and being better and getting back to myself and being the mother, the wife, the daughter, the friend, to the people that are most important to me in my life, because I haven't been that person for quite some time. And I'm just looking forward to getting my life back. And I know that this could just be part of the answer, but I know that this is a step in that direction, and then the next steps that I have to take to continue my better journey is going to happen.
So again, just if you're a person who's been struggling, so we have a little we have in the kitchen. If you're a person who's been struggling with just trying to find the answers why, there is some amazing groups that can help you, and you want to look for something that's supportive and honestly leads with information, leads with research, and can give you names of physicians that have a good reputation. And again, the first thing the doctor could have said, the doctor she saw prior, instead of going around the chicken, could have said, you know what, I know there's some people suffering with that, but it's not my specialty, and refer you on. But do the proper steps for it. And then again, if you hold on to that negative energy, it's going to sabotage you and stop really that healing process, because you keep going back to that. before Christmas, after Christmas, well, the doctor answered it for her. It's not happening before the holidays, but this is where we can really start as functional medicine doctors, and as she can start herself, her journey is really just beginning. The old journey is over. The why is over. We know her why now. Why is her body feeling this way? So then we start to prep her body over the next 60 days of really healing maximally for this, and then everything starts to get better, because you have to think, again, if you had a nail in your foot for 13 years, what did that do to the rest of your foot? What did it do to your toenails? Would you have gotten a bacteria from it? Could you have gotten rust? Could you have gotten tetanus? You lose your whole leg. Think the same thing anytime you have something foreign in your body, except like a pacemaker, things like that. When you have something foreign, you never know what it's doing inside your body and how your body's attacking it. So you often get these chronic fatigue syndromes. You get these weird kind of pains that just don't make sense and don't show up on different markers. Or when the doctor's checking, they're not checking for inflammatory markers. They're actually checking for things like cancer or liver disease, because it's right over her liver. They're not looking for the other things. So it really is about finding a functional medicine physician. And what we do is we say, okay, what is causing the major problem? And then let's get that out. If in doubt, take it out. And then we do the repairing. So what has this done to her adrenal glands, having all this emotional and physical stress and chemical stress in her body? That's when repair can really start happening. So we're going to have a long discussion about food, as always, because you know me and my foodie. You don't want to... would treat her like a pregnant woman, or someone who's trying to get pregnant. Like, you want to get your body healthy before you try to get pregnant. It's the same thing before you have surgery. If you've got a surgery coming up, whether it's a knee surgery or it's something else, getting a mole taken off, whatever it is, you want to get your body in the best state possible. That's really how I would love people to live their life every day. If something happened tomorrow, is my body the healthiest state to really heal from that? So is everything going to heal? The body has an innate capability of doing that. We start talking about cellular detox, but first you have to get the enemy out. And for Tina, that happens to be her saline implants. And then we just see where the body is after that. So I want to thank her for sharing her journey, but take this with your own health. Again, invisible diseases like thyroid stuff. I often talk about infertility because I have friends struggling with trying to get pregnant. That is an invisible disease. It's so emotional involved with that, but so is obesity. No, I mean, people who are overweight don't like that. They don't want to feel that way. That's not how they see themselves. Or again, cancer. Sometimes you have no pain with it, but you've got to go through all those steps. So there's a lot of people right now. This is RSD, our Chronic Regional Pain Awareness Month. So wear your orange this month for all those people fighting chronic regional pain syndrome. So big shout out for that. But also want to thank Tina for sharing that journey with us. I know that she's very open to asking questions. I did tag her up above, so if you want to privately message her, she can help direct you towards a group that maybe might bring just shed some light. Maybe this isn't you. Maybe it's another thing you check off. Okay, that's not me, but you get to check it off. But you'll find oftentimes with breast implant disease, there's going to be a thyroid imbalance, there's going to be adrenal imbalance, there's going to be sometimes the immune system is compromised because it's been fighting this for over 10 years, 13 years, right?
13 years.
Yeah, 13 years. So again, when it comes to your health, journal your journey. So when something starts to go downhill, like 10 years ago, she started not feeling well, then maybe that spark kind of comes up. We didn't have the internet 13 years ago.
Absolutely.
So couldn't have Googled that. But definitely there's some amazing women out there sharing their journey, inspiring people to really find their state of health. So my closing today is go with your gut. Whatever you think is probably imbalanced in your body, you potentially could be 99% right, and there may be another factor involved with that, but go with your gut and then find someone who will work with you or listen to you or be the connector. Because again, when you're looking at physicians, they either need to be the treating physician or they need to be the connector, which connects you to the right person that you need to see. So again, I would interview anybody, whether it's a pediatrician, it's an OB-GYN, it's a gynecologist, I'd said that already, or whether it's a GI guy, interview them and see where they are and see what their approach is and see if the approach fits what your desire is as you move forward. Because now we know what we didn't know. We can reverse diabetes, we can reverse obesity, we can reverse aging processes. There's so many amazing things out there. But we do encourage you to share this with other people that you know may be suffering with some type of invisible disease that no one's really put their thumb on yet. Again, when you look at Tina, you wouldn't say, oh, there can't be anything wrong with her. She's gorgeous. She looks amazing, always smiling. But inside, her body is not feeling that way. So journal your journey, write down what you eat, write down how you sleep, write down where these random pains are, and then again, take a little bit of time, not more than 30 minutes a day, to actually start to heal that journey.
And I'll add to that too, because when she said that to me today, was take only 30 minutes in your OCD, which I have when I get into my research, because what I did notice when she said that was, you know what? Oh my God, a light bulb went on, because before we came here to Kansas City, we were in New York for 4 or 5 days. And I had so much fun in New York, and my mind was completely off of where my health situation is. And I not once felt as bad as I have felt because I never once looked at my phone, Googled something, went on to the breast implant illness page and listened and watched people's stories. So I understand where she's coming from. If I have that 30 minutes where I want to just look and see, check in and see where these ladies are at, I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to make that my main focus anymore, because I think that just feeds into the sickness to make you feel worse.
Yeah, exactly right. So she's going to take that time she was spending scrolling on herself with lifestyle, meditation, working out, drinking water, everything she deserves, that your body deserves. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to check what's in the oven because I think I'm a bit overdue checking in. So again, please feel free to share this. Drop your questions down below because you may have a question that other people have. Oftentimes people private message everything, and that's okay if it's something personal, but honestly, this is a very public subject for thousands, tens of thousands of women. It could be your aunt, it could be your spouse, it could be your neighbor, you never know, but you might just share, I learned this. Had you ever heard of breast implant, disease? And most people are like, what? What are you talking about? Because that was an electric surgery. How can that be a disease?
Yeah.
But again, share it with someone. You never know who may need your help. So thank you
Thank
again.
you. Bye.